Hello and welcome to EDCI 513. My name is Dr. Annette Tomry and I will be your instructor for this course, and I'm really excited to have you in here. I hope you're excited too. I live in Northwest Indiana in Valparaiso, and I am actually on the central time zone here. I'm actually so close to Chicago that they put us on Chicago time. West Lafayette is actually on Eastern time, so if you look at your assignments, are all due in Eastern time, because Purdue University, like I said, is in Eastern time. I actually have graduated from Purdue on 3 separate occasions. My Bachelor's of Science is from Purdue in Chemistry Education, and I have a Master's of Science in Secondary Ed, and I actually have and my Doctorate is actually also from Purdue, and it's Learning Design and Technology. I actually decided to go back to the classroom. I was teaching at Purdue Northwest for a while, and I decided to go back to the classroom because my youngest here, Emma, who's 5 years old, just entered kindergarten. And since both children, that's them making funny faces, since both of them are in the school system, I decided I wanted my schedule to reflect theirs rather than canceling classes all the time. It just didn't seem fair to the students. Plus, I really enjoyed teaching high school when I was teaching it, and I kind of missed it, to be totally honest. Now, before I had kids, I traveled a lot. I've been to Rome and France and London and Greece and all these different exciting places that just make your heart stop. And now I go to Great Wolf Lodge. I've been to Great Wolf Lodge probably 20 times in the last 6 or 7 years. It's ridiculous the amount of time I've spent there. So much so that they actually give us like extra bonus stuff. Because like, wow, you've been here so often. But unfortunately, I think my kids are starting to grow out of it. And even though I make fun of it, I'm going to really miss going there with the kids because they always have so much fun. Okay, so let's get down to the syllabus and what you really are interested in. Alright, so the course textbook is Trends and Issues with Instructional Design and Technology. What you'll find is this book has a tendency to gear towards maybe the history and more of the reasoning behind it and stuff like that. I think it's very similar to the book I used when I was in the program several years ago. It's a pretty good book. It's a really easy book to read. But because it's an 8-week class, keep in mind you're going to have to stay on top of it. Okay, don't forget that you have it. The assignments, we have 130 points total. Notice how many of them are actually from just discussion alone. Discussion is a huge part of the course. And when I say discussion, I'm referring to discussion boards. I know might be your first class in the program, which is why I wanted to go through this. But discussion boards are vital for this. Then you have a couple assignments here, investigating a profession group project, technology badge assignment, and then you have a literature review. Alright, so the due dates have been established for each assignment. So 20% of your total grade will be deducted for the assignment if it's received 1 to 6 days late. Assignment received more than a week will not get any points whatsoever. Keep that in mind. You need to stay on top of things, and it moves super fast. Course discussion. It is because we don't meet face to face, the discussion forum is vital. I feel like I keep saying that same word. It's really important because that's supposed to mimic the lecture. And it's supposed to mimic the large group discussion. And if you don't participate, you miss out on that. It's basically analogous to you skipping class. And as a graduate student, I would assume you would never skip class. If you skip the discussion board, that's basically what you're doing. You're going to need to respond to that main discussion question and then make comments, a minimum of 2 or 3 on the responses to others. So don't just respond to your own, you have to respond to other posts. They have to be good posts. Don't just say, good job, I thought the same thing. that doesn't really help us. That doesn't move the conversation forward. Also, don't try to just do the bare minimum. The more input we get from everybody, the more deeper the discussions can get. You should be expecting to participate throughout the week in the discussions. Don't just do all your discussions in one day. Also, go back and look if somebody replied to your discussions. So we're looking at both quality and quantity. I mentioned that before when I said don't just put good job. They need to be meaningful posts. To do that, you need to provide concrete examples, perhaps from your own experiences. Identify consequences or implications. Challenge something that has been posted, perhaps playing the devil's advocate. I have a tendency to do that a lot. Like just try to do an alternative opinion just to see how people will respond. Pose a related question or issue. Suggest a different perspective or interpretation. Pull in related information from other sources or incite the sources, books, articles, websites. Make sure you actually cite any kind of resource you use. If you just make a blanket statement and saying, oh, research has shown, or something like, this has happened, blah, blah, blah. If it's not a personal experience, you need to say what that experience came from. Or if it is something that you believe and that you don't really actually research it, say the words, I believe, and that kind of gets you out of that. Another way to make it a more interesting and more back and forth with everybody is if you sometimes end the post with a question like, what do you think? Or, hey, I saw this. Can you add to it? So asking a small question at the end sometimes helps with the conversation. Participation scores will be based on 3 primary criteria: the frequency and timeliness of the postings, content of your postings, the thoughtfulness and reflection that goes into your responses, and the extent to which they address the topic for the week, including the assigned readings, and adherence to online protocol. There's a rubric on the course website on Blackboard. Take a look at it just so you know what we're looking for. All right, so of the assignments, the investigating a profession group project, you're actually going to conduct an interview with somebody that is of interest to you. You conduct an informal, informational conversation, an interview, with a professional in the LDT field, learning, design, and technology field, like instructional design of some kind, that is of interest to you, to your group. It cannot be a relative. It cannot be an LDT instructor or a current supervisor of any of the group members. Interviews can be conducted via person, by telephone, Skype, but may not be conducted via email, text, or Facebook. So you can't just write it back and forth. It actually has to be a verbal conversation. Develop a presentation and prepare questions to lead a class discussion in the forums. Specific guidelines for this assignment is also provided in Blackboard. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, if I can't use anybody I know, who am I going to use? If you don't have anyone else, look up into Indeed and see if there's any kind of interesting job descriptions in there or interesting people that you wouldn't mind talking to. It could be a professor. Maybe you do want to be a professor. It just can't be a Purdue professor. Maybe it's someone who creates learning manuals for a healthcare program or something like that. Think out of the box. Think of where you want to go with your profession. Why are you in this course? Why are you in this degree? And maybe if you start thinking about that, then you can figure out who you'd want to talk to about what that job is really like. The technology badge assignment may seem a little confusing. We actually at the program offer all kinds of technology badges. You only have to perform one, but you can do as many as you want. If you do more, it's not really going to affect your grade any. You just have to do the minimum of 1. But it kind of helps you put things on your resume, and it helps you get more familiar with the other programs that are out there. The purpose of this assignment is to help you explore and evaluate various tools, technologies, and determine how, when, and why such technologies should be infused into normal, hybrid, or fully online learning situations. You have the opportunity to select any technology badge from the list in the LDT online badge repository. You must successfully complete and submit the badge and passport in order for it to count towards this assignment. So I don't actually grade it. You just have to submit your badge. All right, so let's talk about Blackboard for a minute. Since you're new to the program, I'm assuming most of you are new to the program, I'm going to talk about just little odds and ends. If you happen to see this blue bar on the side, if you click on it, this stuff will appear. Sometimes when you open up Blackboard, this is already here on the right-hand side. However, if you do not see this, look for this blue bar and click on it. All right, so if you look under assignments, when you do that, it gives you details and examples of all the assignments that are involved in this class, and it tells you how to submit them, including the technology badge. So here's the passport and the LDT repository, just so that way you know where it is. This was found in the assignment tab in Blackboard. Okay, finally, you also have a literature review. This is a small literature review, meaning it's only 3 or 4 pages long. Choose a topic related to the field of educational technology that you would like to explore in greater depth. 3 to 4 page small scale literature review. This does not include the title page, tables, or figures or references. So any kind of pictures and stuff, we don't include that in the 3 to 4 page count. It needs to be APA format. If you don't know what APA format is, it's the most basic for liberal arts. It's essentially taking the last name of the author and the year it was published. If you need more help with that, the online writing lab, the OWL, O-W-L, is actually really useful for writing these kinds of things. Also, most computers, if you have Microsoft Office, actually has that option to just type in the information and the program will do the APA format for you. You have to turn in a draft, and that's going to be turned into SafeAssign. SafeAssign is a program to check for plagiarism, and then you'll get a chance to revise it after I read through it, and that'll give you your final one, and that's to be submitted into Blackboard. It's a basic 90, 80, 70, 60 scale, but it's been broken down by percentage, by pluses and minuses. Notice that there is no A+. We do not give A+ in our program. The due dates discussions are due on Saturday, with the initial posting due Wednesday at 11:59 Eastern Time. So in other words, it starts on Wednesday, as the initial post is due on Wednesday before midnight. And then the discussion that carries on will last until Saturday. So that means Sunday is like a catch-up day for other things, because you won't have anything to do except for prepare for your next week. Other course activities and projects are due on Sundays at 11:59 Eastern Time. Remember, this is all West Lafayette time, New York time, if you will, and given a week, Eastern Time of a given week. Specific due dates are listed in Blackboard. Points will be deducted for late assignments as follows. 1 day late will be penalized 20%. 2 days or later is 0 points will be assigned. So make sure you get that stuff on time. And that is the end of my little introduction to EDCI 513. I'm really glad to have you on board, and I can't wait to work with you.